Super excited you guys are all here. Crystal is going to take over. We have some great stuff for you. So I hope you have something to take notes with and you are ready to dive in. So, Crystal, thank you for what you do. Take it away.
Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome back for Miracle Moments. This is going to be a fun training. I'm excited because we're going to spend some time today talking about something that can completely transform your business, and that is being true to you. So, like Carrie mentioned, it would be really great if you had something to take some notes with. I'm going to give you guys some writing prompts, if you will, today so that we can kind of follow along. So I'm going to give you just a minute to go and grab something to write down some of these notes with. Okay, so go ahead and do that, and we'll just wait just a second. If you can be on camera today, we'd love to see you on. We look at these as like working Zoom. So if you're here, we're assuming that you can show yourself, but if you can't, we still love you and we're happy you're here. We are recording, but we'd really love to be able to see your faces. Good morning, good evening. Hello. Okay, good. Okay, good. So we're going to
Good.
take some notes.
Wait, I practice this all the time. Guten Tag, Melly. And Ishild.
There she is.
Guten
All right.
Tag.
I do have my screen set that I can't see you unless you're on screen. So if you're here and I don't mention your name throughout the meeting, it's just because all I see on my screen are the people with their cameras on, okay? And I do that for me. I do that for me because as a speaker, it's so important that I can get energy in the room when I'm sharing. If you guys were talking on stage and everybody was sleeping, it'd be really, really hard for you to get into the energy that you need to, be able to fulfill what you're trying to do in the room. And that's why I turn on the camera so I can see everyone. Carrie, I'm frozen. Can you see me?
Oh, yeah. I
Okay.
see you fine and you're
Okay.
moving and everything. So
Okay,
just keep
perfect.
scrolling. Yeah.
Okay, you guys, so welcome to Miracle Moments. This training is going to be fun. We are going to talk about what's going to transform your business, and that's going to be being true to you, okay? Because too often in this business, people think that they have to follow someone else's exact path to succeed. But the truth is, your power is in your authenticity. You do not have to be like everyone else. You just have to be the best version of you. So I want to kick off today asking you some engagement questions. All right. So I'm going to do this throughout today's training. But the first one I want to ask you, and you can go ahead and drop it in the chat, and or if you'd like, you can keep it short and raise your hand. But I want to know, why did you join this business? So I'm going to give you a minute just to go ahead and comment that in the chat, or if you'd like to raise your hand, I'd love to hear from a few of you. Why did you join this business? Why are you here?
I joined because it was powerful and I knew it could help the world.
Thank you, Carrie. Exactly. Yes. Who else? Just unmute. Go ahead, Kim.
I actually joined because I wanted to get the discount, and I'm just a cheapskate like that. I always want to get the best price, but then after we started using it and we, saw the benefit, it was just so easy to talk about. So,
Yes. Great answer. Go ahead, Kim. Thank you, Paula.
I joined because of the impact that it made on me and having a better quality of life and to be able to share it with others.
Yes, I love that. Thank you, Kim. That's great. I'm seeing in the comments, I'm seeing Erica said she was tired of the side effects of meds with from chronic pain. Eva, she said to feel better and help others feel better. Gayleen, praying for something that could help her husband and to be able to help others. I love that. These are all great answers, you guys. And I got started because that patch changed my life. That patch changed my life. Now I'd already been in network marketing for, over a decade at that time, but I was on my way out. I was like, I'm done MLM. I'm done with this. And then someone said, try this patch out. I put it on my skin. And Paula, I'm cheap too. So I signed up for the discount first, April 1st, 2023. I signed up for the discount. right? And then all of a sudden the patches came, I put them on my skin, and like so many others, my whole world was changed. And I said, I got to share this. God told me, open your mouth. Karen said, oh, sorry, I see Esther said, I saw the possibilities, both product and business. Karen said, because I want/need some serious money for things I want to do in the world. And I know Steve already from a prior business. These are all great answers, you guys. Isheld said, because I've never had a painkiller that stops pain nearly immediately.
Okay, I'm putting that in Amazing Patch Stories right now. That is a very powerful statement.
It is. All of those statements are powerful. And, I will say, since Carrie brought up Amazing Patch Stories, I will say this, all of those one-liners that you just said, they all belong in there. When you share a picture with you with the patch, those are the reasons that you're sharing. And those are the reasons that other people are going to look to this company or look to this product to find relief. It's your story, in the authentic story from you. So look at all those different reasons. Okay. We heard financial freedom, family time, making an impact, community, all those things. Okay. Your reason is personal, and so is your journey. So let's dive in to why being yourself in this business matters. Okay. Are you ready? All right, good. I'm looking for engagement. Thank you. Thank you. I'm looking for engagement today. I want to know. I need some energy for a minute. Because if Melly was starting this, we would have already been dancing. So I need you guys to shake it off a little bit and get some energy, be excited, right? So we can jump in. This feels like we're all a little tired today. Yeah, there we go, Kim. Put on a boost patch. Get your gear on. Kim's all geared up. I love it. All right. I love seeing your faces. I love that. Good morning, Dellery. Good morning. I'm so glad you're here. Be careful while you're driving. You can come back and take notes later if you need to. Let's jump into it. Let's jump into why being true to yourself matters. Okay. We're going to talk about why being you is your greatest strength in business. And the first reason is authenticity attracts the right people. You hearing me? Authenticity attracts the right people. People are drawn to realness. If you show up as you, you'll attract people who connect with your story, not someone else's. Okay, Amazing Patch Stories is great because we have all these different stories and real life accounts of how the patches are helping. But when it comes to converting someone as a customer or as an associate, it truly comes down to you. It comes down to the vibe. It comes down to where they relate with you. Do they trust you? Do they know you? Do they feel comfortable sharing that information with you? And sometimes we can get that done in just a couple of minutes. That's why we talk about discovery all the time. But the reality is sometimes it takes that time. So Amazing Patch Stories is there to trickle in information and help them see that it's not just you sharing your story, but it's your realness that's going to draw people to you. Authenticity attracts the right people. Okay. Number two, sustainable success comes from alignment. Sustainable success comes from alignment. If you're forcing yourself to follow a strategy that does not fit with you, you're going to burn out. The key is to build your business in a way that feels good to you and makes sense for your strengths. Okay. Now we come on here all the time and we share what we can to, what's working for us. But what's working for us does not necessarily mean that that's the golden ticket for you. Our hope is that we're going to share enough that you're going to take a piece of that, a piece from here and there, and you're going to be able to use it to adapt and grow in your own business, in your own journey. But not everything is going to be slam dunk, bullseye. This is what we teach you and it's going to work for you. Sometimes you take a system or a strategy, you work at it for a little while and you come up with your own. That's how I created the blimp system. I was taught different strategies over the years. None of them truly fit within like what I felt was authentic to myself, how I felt I wanted to reach out to people. I was a little nervous. That's why I created the blimp system so that I could ease my way into these conversations instead of feeling like I was spamming people. Sustainable success comes from alignment. Okay. So when you find what makes sense for your strengths, you can build on that. And when you show up in your strengths, you're going to feel more confident about that. Okay. Number 3 is confidence grows when you own who you are. Confidence grows when you own who you are. When you stop and take a second, right? And you stop second guessing how you should act, how you should post, what you should say, your confidence grows. And confidence leads to action, and action leads to results. But if you show up and you know, when you show up in someone else's light, so there's been times throughout my journey, I've been doing this over 15 years at this point, right? Like I'm like 2 years away from 20 years that I've been either speaking or doing some form of leadership, or, you know, trying to duplicate a process and make it my own and then teach it to other people. And in the mix of that, I've come across so many times where I'm like, I'm coming live and I see them, you guys, I see them, and it breaks my heart to look back and see this version of myself that was so lost and confused that every time I showed up for a live, or every time I showed up for a speaking engagement, or tried to coach my team, or tried to create content, or tried to get out there and talk to people, I was trying to be someone else and I was never authentic with myself. So I was always in my head. How many of you have been in your head? How many of you have tried to take something we've taught you and duplicate it, and just like the whole time you're in your head, and you either delete the live or you burn the conversation and you don't do any follow-up. You miss the point where you can get them on a 3-way. That happens. But when you show up and you stop second guessing, like, who should I be today? Do I show up as Carrie or Crystal? Do I show up as myself? Right? When you do that and your confidence builds on you're showing up authentically as yourself, that's what's going to bring you to that. Like I said, when you find that confidence, and that's what's going to bring you to results, because you're going to take action from that. Okay. Number 4 is doing this for you creates lasting motivation. Doing this for you creates lasting motivation. If you're only in this to impress other people, it's not going to last. You won't last. But if you're here because you believe in what you're building, nothing can stop you. Not a team falling apart, not having to find new people, not an upline or a sponsor that doesn't help you, not a corporate office that you don't feel aligned with, not any of these things, changes in the industry, changes in prices, all the things. None of these things, right, are going to, or none of these things can stop you if you are sure about what you're doing here. When you're doing this for you, and I don't mean that in a selfish way. I just mean that you're not here to impress me or Carrie or Steve. You're not here to impress your sponsor or your upline. You're not here to impress your family that you started a brand new business. In fact, you're probably trying to defend why you started this business. You're here because you had a personal experience with the super patches, and that's what drove you. And if you don't believe it, scroll back up. See all the comments, right? I'm here because it impacted my life. I'm here because I want to create a better life for my family. I'm here because I wanted to help my husband. I'm here because I needed new income. I'm here because I have goals. It all centers back to what you are searching for, right? And all that is freedom and happiness and excitement and being able to explore a little bit and live life on your terms and all of these things. But if you only ever show up to impress or to offend, like, I'm just here because they don't like me, so I'm going to be here. That's a 6-year-old mindset, right? But maybe an 8-year-old, they get a little bit catty at that point. But I was trying to read the comments. Carrie, you got comments, right? You got the chat? Okay. So I won't worry about the chat till later. But when you do this for you, that's what creates this lasting motivation. Okay, because no one else is going to do it for you. And on your hard days, yeah, you can get a pep talk from your upline, your sponsor, your leaders. You can go on and listen to YouTube and you can do all the things. But unless you truly decide, I'm going to do this for me, I'm going to show up because I'm the only person who can push me, you're never going to have that lasting motivation. You have to do it for you. Okay, so let's take a minute and let's chat. Okay, where in your business do you feel most yourself? And where do you feel like you're forcing it? And this is one of those interaction moments. So I'd like you to raise your hand if you want to speak. Otherwise, just drop it in the comments. But where in your life where in your life or where in your business, excuse me, not life. Let's just talk about business today, right? Where in your business do you feel most yourself? And where do you feel like you're forcing it?
I feel most like myself when I am interacting face to face with someone and just simply conversing, sharing conversation, getting to know someone. That feels better than anything else I do. When I feel like I'm forcing it, is when I have a goal to enroll a certain number of associates, okay? And for whatever reason, that week, that month, it's just not happening. And I'm just doing everything I can to just get someone in, right? And that's when I feel like I'm forcing it, whether I'm offering a free pack of patches if they join, I'm offering $50 off because of the enrollment fee, whatever, okay? And I'm like, that doesn't feel good. Everything always feels better when I'm having those genuine conversations. That's for me.
I love that, Carrie. And thank you for being honest about that, because I feel like as leaders, there's a kind of a pedestal that we almost get put on, and people assume we don't run in and encounter the same issues that everyone is having. So that answer was so raw and so real, because it's true. We set ourselves up to this, oh, I'm going to enroll this many. And then we start like trying to hype it for ourselves. And then when we don't hit it, especially when everyone's watching, when we don't hit it, then it's like, oh my goodness. What about you guys? Erica says in one-on-one conversations. Esther, totally the same as Carrie. I love that. Who else has something to share? It's okay if you don't. Just, if not, I want you to write it down, because I want you to really contemplate this. Okay. So write it down again. It's, where in your business do you feel most yourself? And where do you feel like you're forcing it? So you don't have to answer right now, because it's kind of a deep question for you to really think about. Where in my business am I forcing it? Am I trying to do vendor events, but I'm so introverted that when people walk up to the table, I like whisper and don't even greet them? Am I trying to get out there and do demonstration or demos, but I really can't drive and I live in the middle of nowhere? Am I trying? Go ahead, Carrie.
I need to interrupt you because what I'm about to say is actually really important. So just give me grace. You don't know this because you can't see the names, the screens that aren't correct, right? You can see that. You can see that I addressed this iPhone that's in here. And I just need you guys to picture this for a second. When Crystal and I do stuff, and it's so great to have someone that's doing this with you. And I think too, this goes along with what you're doing, Crystal, when it talks about authenticity and showing up as yourself, like when we show up together. And so we've got each other's backs. And I want you guys to all know here in this group, we have your back. And so I called out this iPhone 613. It's Mary Martin. She's on her phone outside because she had to take her dog out and
Hello, Mary Martin.
So I have to say what you said, Mary. And she's like, it's me. Sorry about that. And then she says this, Crystal, you're going to love it, because she just sent it to me privately, but it's okay. I can share it with you all. She goes, by the way, I love your bulldog zeal to protect our group. Y'all, if that's not the truth, what we do here, I don't want things being interrupted. I want everything to go well. And so when Crystal's talking, I'm watching the chat and doing stuff. And if you're ever doing a Zoom or doing something with your downline or teammate or sideline, whatever, we got each other's back. And so I just want you guys to know you're protected here, you're safe here, you can share here, and you're loved. So Crystal, I love this. I just had to interrupt you to tell you your bulldog's over here working. I love it. Thanks,
Thank
Mary.
you. I don't keep her in a cage. I let her loose. I love that. I do love that we're able to do that, that we're able to count on each other. And that's something that is just really beautiful, to have in a community. And I always say community, because I am a builder and believer of community. Social media, I build on social media to build a community. I want to bring people in with like minds that want to feel empowered, all the things. That's why I do that, right? So our community is so special. Carrie, thank you for making sure. And Mary, I'm glad that you're here and that you're able to do this from outside. And you guys, that's the blessing, right? That's the blessing of what we do. Okay, so again, I just want you to consider for yourself, where in your business do you feel most yourself, and where do you feel like you're forcing it? And then, and you could even break it down to Steve teaches this, and I feel like this is really aligned with me, but this maybe not. Carrie said this, but this is part of, and maybe not this. Crystal, suggested this, and maybe this part, but not this. You have to figure out what's going to work for you. And you can do coaching sessions. We do coaching sessions all the time with people. I have like coaching clients outside of Super Patch that I talk to people and I'm like, okay, let's figure out what's working for you. But just because I suggest it doesn't mean it's going to be a slam dunk for you. We want you to figure out that for you. All right. So now that we've talked about that, let's talk about how to be true to yourself in your Super Patch business. Okay. Or just in any business in general. All right. So show up as you. This is step one. Show up as you. Okay, if you could take notes, take a little notes, because this is where I'm going to have you write some things down. Let's make this practical. How do you start showing up as the real you in your business? Okay, so I'm going to give you some action steps, and I truly want you to do this. Okay, go through this with me. You ready? So your action step is to write down 3 words that describe your personality. So an example would be energetic, encouraging, and honest. So write those 3 words down. I'm going to give you 1 minute to do that.
Hold on 1 second, because I'm 1 minute behind. I want to write this down. You are giving us some gold. So I'm writing it down for the first morning, Crystal, and all of us doing this. You're going faster for me.
I can't believe it.
I know. Melly's like, thank God, Carrie. Write
Am
down
I going too fast, you guys?
Write down 3 words that describe your personality.
Yes.
Okay.
I could slow way down. I thought I was going slow. I'll slow down.
No, you're going great.
Okay.
I'm just telling you for this instance, I'm writing it because I love this. I mean, I always love it.
I'm going to read while you guys write. Delary said, I feel most myself when I'm sitting down with someone and having a deep conversation and connecting with them. I feel most pushed when I set a goal and I'm not able to achieve it. Thank you, Delary. That's raw and real. I feel like so many of us follow that same thing. When we're in person, it's so much easier. And I think that's sometimes why people shy away from even building online, because they're so limited to that. I want to see people in person, but I also agree though. Like I love being powered up. I see some great names or words coming in: supportive, honest, caring, positive, outgoing, and encouraging. 3 words that describe your personality: helpful, responsible, and encouragement. I love that. Beautiful. Okay, now I want you to reflect on your journey. That reason, why did you join, right? What excites you? So I want you to write a short paragraph, and I'm actually going to give you like 5 minutes, no, 3 minutes to do this, right? I'm going to give you 3 minutes to take those 3 words, or excuse me, not those 3 words, to reflect on your journey and write why you joined. And now we've already shared some of this, so some of it should be pretty easy if you're already thinking about it. And then also write what excites you. Just write a short paragraph. Sorry, I didn't know my kid was behind my computer. It distracted me. Okay, so just write that, and then we will come back in 3 minutes. All right, wrap it up. There we go. Come back to us. Okay, so the next time you go live, or you post, or you talk to someone in person, all right, I want you to speak in your natural tone. I don't want you to overthink it. I want you to show up as you. I want you to remember those 3 personality traits that you have, or those traits you have, or traits you aspire to have, right? And then I want you just to reflect on that journey. Why did you join? All right. Am I trying, another question would be, am I trying to sound or act like someone else in my business, and why? So let that kind of mesh. And sometimes it's okay because you have mentorship and you want to do what they're doing. You see someone succeeding and you want to duplicate that. That's okay. But what it really comes down to is how can you do that as yourself? Right? All right, Carrie.
So showing up as yourself, it takes posture. Do you realize that? Like it takes, how do you feel most comfortable? What is it that you do? And you got to really you got to own it. And so one of the things that I learned was like, all right, I'm going to tell y'all this. Crystal, you've heard this, and some of you else have heard this. But when I go order coffee in a drive-through or at I walk up and order, they're like, can I get a name? I say, I say, Superwoman, because I just want to feel empowered. And when they call that out, I'm like, yeah, that's me. And I walk up there and get it. Or if, I'm with Steve, I make him go get it. And it's really funny.
It is.
Yeah, Steve?
If I'm ordering the coffee, she says Superwoman, and she makes me walk up to the counter and get it, just so everybody knows. It's very embarrassing sometimes.
I have witnessed this and it's true.
But it's fun, right? It's fun.
It's fun. So it's super fun.
I'm going to tell you this really quick. I want you all to stand up if you can. If you can stand up. This is the moment that should remind you to wear pants on Zoom. Stand up if you can. Yeah. Get some space. I don't have much space. You guys should see my space here. It's like little to nothing.
It's actually really impressive of how small that space is, Carrie, and how large it looks on camera. It really, really is.
This is it. Here's the wall and my camera. Okay. So here's what you're going to do. Can y'all hear me and see me? Thumbs up. Yeah. You're going to stand like Superman, right? Chest is out. Your hands are on your hips and you're just puffed out, right? And I want you to say it out loud. I am Superwoman or I am Superman. Okay, you ready? I am
Superwoman.
Yeah, some man's gonna have to unmute so it's a little more gender happy. Hayward, unmute, do it. It's okay, we can wait. We're super women. We don't mind waiting.
Handling it.
You got this. Hey, there you go.
I am Superman.
Nice. Okay, let's all do it again. Are y'all ready?
Yeah.
I am Superwoman.
Superwoman.
And I want you to take a deep breath, okay? Take a deep breath. Let it out. Count to 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Take another deep breath. Same pose, get in that pose. Let it out. Okay, have a seat. When you are talking to people and being yourself and doing what it is that you do, especially after you get off the Zoom, because you're going to be empowered and you're going to want to just jump to the moon, feel the part and be the part, but you have to put yourself in that position. Crystal, you're doing fantastic. Keep going.
It was great. Thank you. I needed the stretch break as well. Our brains are back. All right. Janice shared in the comments, she says, my personality in a nutshell: caring, humorous, trustworthy. My super patch journey: I became an associate to save money on these amazing patches. Then I became confident in how to do the demo so I could share how VTT will help friends and family. Now I'm excited on making money. Do you see how the progression came in that, Carrie? It's so beautiful. I love that so much. Thank you for sharing that. Thank you. All right. So step 2, step 1 was show up as you, right? And now we're going to underline, that's what we were writing down is, who am I, right? Why am I here? Step 2 is to find out what works for you. So let's talk about finding a business strategy that fits you. Okay. So what I want you to do is I want you to choose one marketing method. One marketing method. It can be social media, events, personal conversations, anywhere along there. The one that you feel the most natural in. And then I want you to commit to it for 30 days. You see, we're writing down, right? So today is March 18th. And we're going to touch base on this around April 18th on one of the miracle moments around there. Carrie, you write that down, right? So we're going to touch base. I want you to pick one marketing method: social media, events, walking out in the mall, whatever you feel most confident or most natural in. And I want you to commit to showing up for your business in that way for the next 30 days. Because the reality is the business that we have here is more than just, oops, got that mute? There we go. The business that we have here is more than just, I'm going to go on live and talk about the products. I'm going to go on TikTok and share them like an infomercial. I'm going to go and sit at a vendor show and share people. I'm going to meet people at the park and patch them up. We're going to host meetings and events and gatherings. We're going to do in-house parties. I mean, there are so many different ways that you can build your business here with Super Patch that it's hard to choose one. And so there's so many of us that come in and we see how this person's succeeding and that person's succeeding and their table set up and this and that. And then we throw ourselves in there. And that's a good thing. You should experiment to figure out what you really are naturally great in, because God's given each of us different talents and skills. So you'll never really know those unless you venture in, but you'll know pretty quickly if it's for you. Okay, because it feels natural. So some of you are like, the thought of live makes my stomach turn. I never want to do lives. You're lucky my face is on this Zoom screen. I don't want it. Okay, some of you only say that because you're in your head. Some of you truly just like have no desire to be behind a camera, and that's okay. Some of you don't post on social media at all. I would argue that you're missing out on something amazing, but that's because that is where I feel most natural in, which is why I teach most on social media strategy and building. Doesn't mean I can't do other ways, but that's my natural comfort zone. Not even comfort zone, my natural, like, I feel so confident in this area. But even at times I get on a live and I get distracted, or I get in my head, or I don't have as much, interaction on the live. So it turns out kind of however it goes. And then, maybe I delete it, or I've done all of these things. I've been at vendor events where I didn't even want to step out and talk to people. Yeah, Carrie.
I want to share something personal about you. Can I?
Sure. I don't know what it is, but sure, why not?
So I don't know if you've seen, she's like, wait. I don't know if you have seen some of Crystal's Instagram reels or TikTok videos or things that are personal, but you sit here on a Tuesday morning and you hear this chick and you think she's got it all together. You don't see the issues she's having even below the camera. I didn't know this until she told me, but sometimes she's breaking pencils the entire time she's doing these Zooms. Crystal, that's personal, and I'm asking for forgiveness later rather than permission now. But because of the internal stuff she has going on, the different issues that she's had because of past lives and illnesses and disease and all this stuff, and she's sitting here and leading us like a queen, but yet using her hands and resources that she knows that helps her to keep her focused. One of the things she sent me, and she and I laugh about it, and y'all probably are going to not like me after I say this. Okay? And I'm okay with that. But she and I are very close. And one of the first times she's around me, she did this whistle. And I'm like, what are you doing? I didn't know, but she has these twerks.
Ticks.
I called it the wrong thing. Sorry, ticks. So I'll call it the wrong thing. And I'm like, I'll let you whistle at me all day, and we're laughing about it because we're friends and enjoying it. But she knows when that begins to happen, and she knows how to hone that in. But she also has been sharing some of that. And so you're going to see on the screen near perfection and hear things, but just need to know there's stuff happening behind the scenes. You guys have no idea. Right now, Steve is dealing with stuff behind the scenes. You guys have no idea. I'm dealing with things like showing up as who you are and letting people look in the comments. Crystal, look, Mary is our girl. She did it. Because I said she's twerking. She's like, no, Carrie, it's not twerking. So we laughed and made a fun thing about it.
We did.
But you see, Karen, I share that because I want y'all to know that it's okay to share that side too. Like, Crystal, I think one day you ought to post a picture of you and your broken pencils and explain why. People want to see all of that. That perception of that we've got it all together. It's such a lie. And you can show up on social media and you can lie through your teeth, or you can show up and share, and people are going to want to be a part of what you have because someone on the screen maybe even has twerks themselves. Tics. Sorry. I'm not going to be able to get it out of my head. But I just had to share that. And I just want to give Crystal just all of the praise because she does show up and she does it regardless. And then she began to share some of that. And I'm like, you sure you want to put like your twerks on? You know, like, yeah, she did. She shared. Sorry, it's not twerks. It's ticks. I'm gonna keep.
I don't
keep
twerk
that
for
me.
views. I tick for views, you guys.
Tick reviews. So anyhow, Crystal, thank you. And when you talk about being you and being real, yeah, you don't always share that, and so I had to share it for you.
Thank you. So, and I, you know, some of the, I'm reading the comments. I shouldn't, it's too distracting. You guys are hilarious. Thank you. I want you to know I have notes on my screen. I want you to know that in case my screen breaks down, I have my notes on paper. Okay. I want you to know that I looked over that and typed it all out before we ever got on a Zoom today. Right. And then Carrie, Steve, and I, when we're hosting any event in person, and I just use us as reference because we work closely together, right? But anytime we just know, like, we're like, okay, time to fill in a gap. Like Carrie said last night, she said, if I just had dead silence, someone, she knows who would speak up to fill that air. And we kind of were trying to, but she kept muting us. Well, that's another topic for a different day, right? Steve, we'll deal with that. Anyway, the point is have fun and be you. The point is to be you. And so you have to find out where you're naturally fit. But sometimes to find that, you have to step out of your comfort zone, because I didn't know that I was good at lives until I did a live. And you know what makes my lives the best? When I truly show my flaws, when I show up as I am, when I talk about my house being messy, when I clean off my countertop on a live and I nonchalantly talk about the patches and I nonchalantly talk about the other things that I venture into. And, you know, we brought up that the company is making infomercials, and that's really great because there's a place and a time for infomercials, right? But that shouldn't be your life. That shouldn't be how you share Super Patch. How you share Super Patch should be welcoming them in to feel like they know you, so they can start to like you, so they will build that trust with you, and you can build lasting relationships with that. One thing that's beautiful about network marketing and just in general in like just in like building relationships with people is it really doesn't matter what you do. The person wants to support you. Okay. And you'll find that you probably already have. If any of you were ever in a previous company, or you've got a friend group or a support system or a church home, or those people just want to support you. Okay. And so it's really easy, and I'm going to get to it, but it's really easy to get caught up in, I promote Super Patch instead of I chose to market this product because it helps me, but that's not who I am. Getting it? Okay. So figure out what works for you. And it doesn't have to be something you're an expert in. Just what marketing method is most natural for you. Okay. And then commit to that for 30 days, and then experiment with different types of content style. Now I'm going to say content style. Let's say social media. That means videos, written posts, stories, and be consistent. A lot of people with success on social media, it wasn't because they were super highly interesting. It was because they were very consistent in showing up, and they built a community. Okay. I delete you get memories up on Facebook. I have so many memories that I cringe at, that I literally delete videos from my past. I delete reels, I delete lives, I delete posts because they don't align with who I am now. They don't. But I ventured through social media. Like, so it's easy to look at my social media and go, oh, you've got almost 200,000 followers and so on and so forth. I worked for that. I showed up very consistently. Okay. But I had to figure out me along the way. And there's lots of different versions of Crystal before I got to the point where I went, none of this feels right. I need to be my authentic self. And my authentic self is kind of a hippie. My authentic self lives on 25 acres and I'm trying to homestead. I just made my own yogurt. If you want to stay on till the end, I'm going to show you. I'm actually really proud of this Greek yogurt.
I just bought some at the store. I bought mine at the store yesterday. Okay, we are not the same.
Yeah, I just bought something too.
All right, Mary.
Listen, you will all be surprised at how simple it is, right? But do you see how that little bit about me just sparked a conversation and how interested some of you are now? Okay. And what I can do with the way I took from that is make ricotta cheese. I don't know how I'm going to do it, but I'm going to figure it out. And there are other people out there that are like me that are home. Maybe they homeschool their kids. Maybe they're stay at home moms, dads, grandmas, whatever it is. Maybe they're at home, but they work like many of us. Okay. But I can't connect with those people if I'm always trying to show up as someone else. If I show up in my super patch hat all day long, in that person that I am on stage when we're having events and we're sharing that part of us and all the things, and we still make it really personable, but there's a time and a place to blazer up. Right? There's a time and a place for it to be, this is my professional mode. This is what I'm teaching you guys today. This is what we're doing. And this is who I am. Because it's impact, right? Impact. And when you can make an impact through your influence, through what you're doing, you're going to find that significance. And that significance leads to success. John C. Maxwell said, significance over success, but I truly believe that that significance is what leads to that success. Showing up authentically as yourself. So pay attention to what energizes you and what drains you. So if you're someone and you hit that button and you are trying to do these reels and it's just not something you're comfortable doing and it's beyond the learning curve. Do you understand? There's a learning curve that gets uncomfortable. You have to do that. You have to figure it out. And if you, at the end of it, you figure, okay, it's not done, it's not what I want to do, then you figured it out. But there's things that you're doing now that you dread doing. There are things that you're doing for your business now that you literally, you're like, I hate this about my business. Okay. And if it's follow-up, that's a little bit of a coaching thing, right? But if it's truly something you're doing every day or something you've taken out of our handbooks or what we've given you, our playbooks, right? And you're just like, I hate doing this, but they said to do it, so I'm doing it. If it doesn't align with you, stop doing it. Stop doing it. Because when you can freely share who you are, and that's the point Carrie was getting at, that's where I'm getting at, is like my lives, because that's my comfort zone. I can do all the rest. Okay, that's what makes me a catalyst. And if you're reading our teamwork book, you know what that means, right? There's a difference though. Where I feel most authentic is where I am me, where I talk about why the patches are so important, where I talk about that Carrie just had to stand up. And 2 years ago, I couldn't stand on my own. 2 years ago, I couldn't last 5 minutes sitting at my dining room table, let alone an hour chatting with all of you. I had no ambition. My house wasn't light. Okay. But so many people are sitting in that space. And that's where your story comes in. That's where your authenticity, that I really can connect with this person, or I'm really inspired by this person, comes into play. And you don't have to do that just through social media. I'm going to teach you that because I'm passionate about it and I'm good at it. But that's not how you have to show up. You can show up like that. And maybe you're just really good at hosting events. And you just want to invite Steve out to every event you can possibly invite him to, and you're going to get people in the room, and you're going to handle the welcome table, and that's the extent of where your comfort zone is, but you're great at getting people in the room. That's still really great, and I'm pretty sure he'd welcome as many meetings as you want to throw 50 to 100 people in a room. Let's do it, right? Maybe you show up most authentically when you're sitting at a vendor event and people kind of naturally browse, and you have that ease where you can talk to people. Maybe it's in making phone calls to chiropractic clinics to say, hey, can I come out and set up an appointment to meet with you? I've got something I really want to share with you today. Maybe it is social media. And we give you tools to utilize in all areas, but unless you're showing up in the avenue that energizes you, I mean, it fuels your passion, you are going to feel like you're stuck. Okay, so your reflection question is, which business strategies feel most aligned with my personality? So we've talked about a few different business strategies, right? All right, so I want you to think about what business building method feels most natural to you and which one feels most forced to you, and how can you shift it? Does anyone want to share on that? Did anyone have an aha moment, something that they've seen progression in? Kim, I'm going to call you out while people are thinking, okay? I want you to know something. As a leader, Kim, do I have freedom just to like share? Can I just share? I might share some. Okay. As a leader, okay, as a friend, it's so cool to see your friend expand out and grow and personally develop and like find her way and just do the things. Like you all agree with that, right? Like it's so cool to see your friends winning. Okay. As a leader, we have tasking we have a tasking feat, okay? Like I don't know if that's the right word, but our job is to pour into you. Our job, like as a friend, we're going to do it. But as a leader, when you take on that leadership role, when you put on that hat, right? Like her beautiful hat she's wearing today. When you put on that hat, you go, I need to now help this person and their success is personal to me. Wouldn't you agree, Steve? Carrie, like Karen, you're shaking your head. Like their success is personal to me. But as a leader, it's frustrating because I know what works for me and I can give you all of the tips and tricks and I can say, this is what I see from you. And in our coaching sessions, I can say, do this and do that. Sometimes it just doesn't click right away. Or sometimes they have their own things in life happening. And that's been what it's kind of been for Kim. And we're not going to go into that meat of that, Kim, of what you've had to go through in the last year or so. But the reality is there's things that in her personal life slowed her down. And there's ways in my life where I was like, but there's ways around it. And until that person is ready, it's really hard to convince them that they're capable. Okay. So now Kim has been very, very consistent on using the blimp system for the last 2 years. And she's seen great success using the blimp system. And that was her showing up in addition to how she was before. Like this is her showing up out of her comfort zone. But recently, and if y'all haven't gone and watched Kim's lives, like you need to go back and watch some of these because if you want to get to know your community, your team, show up on their lives, ask questions, support each other. Okay. So Kim recently has been sharing on lives and she knows what I do. I get in the live and I start probing a little bit, right, Kim? Like I start asking you some questions nonchalantly, just we're friends, we're communicating, but she knows what I'm doing. I'm making sure as her friend, just like Carrie's doing for me or Steve and Carrie, or we do for each other, Paula does, Gail, all of you, right? Just as we do for everyone else, we're making sure we stay on track. Okay. So now we're watching the live and we're finding our groove. And because I know a little from doing my experience, I'll use that to help Kim. What she's done though is she's taken all of that and she's just absorbed it. And she keeps saying she's in this information load right now. She just wants to keep learning. And so what she did is she took all that she learned, everything she's absorbed, and now she's going live. And she's going live more consistently than any person on the screen. Okay. She is live every single day on purpose. And every single day she's showing up and finding different ways now, as instead of saying, this is the super patch and this is what each patch does and this is here and here's my infomercial and I use this, so this feels really out of my comfort zone because I'm not really talking about what I know and love. I'm just like talking about what I feel like I'm mandated to talk about. And she took from that and went, I'm going to patch up real quick. One out of Carrie's handbook, right? I'm going to patch up real quick while we talk and let me talk to you. And she started sharing more of her. Kim, I want you to unmute quickly, okay? And I just want you to share, what do you think switched for you? How do you feel your lives are going now versus where they were? And did you ever imagine you'd be that comfortable doing lives?
No, I don't know what clicked. I think it was just the need to get out there and be just more authentic. And it's, I've been with other companies, and with those other companies, I felt like I had to be fake. And I did not like that. And with being here with the super patch, I feel more authentic, more being able to be more authentic, more honest, more just able to share myself and not feel like I have to impress anybody because I'm not out there to impress. I'm out to have people get to know me, the real me, not the fake me. And that was just, it's not a good feeling having to do that. And and that's the thing. You have to be authentic, true to yourself in order for people to trust you. And I put it in the comments earlier, but people sense fakeness. They sense it. People are not stupid. They sense when you're being fake.
Yeah, I agree. And I feel like, let me just ask you one quick question. Have you ever done a whole live and deleted it?
Yes.
Thank you. Okay. My point is so have I. So have I. All of us. If you're anybody that does them, if once you get in your head, you can't get out of it, especially if you don't have the engagement. That's why helping each other and succeeding in a community is so important. Okay. Thank you so much, Kim, for your growth. Thank you for being coachable. Thank you for being vulnerable. Thank you for showing up. And I'm going to tell you what, you guys. In 2 years of working exclusively with Kim, but we've known each other a little longer through different companies, but in 2 years of working exclusively with Kim as a leader, to see her blossom into something that is comfortable for her, to watch her become vulnerable and empowered at the same time, to see her have conversations with her audience that do not feel rushed. They do not feel like she was put on the spot. They just feel natural. I have learned things about her through that live, things that we have a lot in common. I wouldn't have known if she didn't share. Okay. So that natural communication that she's having now through there came from practice, but it didn't come because she felt most natural in that area. It came because she adapted, she learned, she grew. And now it's just getting better and better and better. So I say all that to encourage you, just to say if there's an area where you feel like I really want to learn this because I would love to do it, but I'm not good at it, get out of your way. Because it's not about being good at it. It's about being consistent. There's a lot of people who do a really bad job out there, and they got a lot of people following them. And the reality is they're following because they're consistent. They consistently stay on point. So I ran off that. I wanted to use Kim as an example here because Kim has been doing such an amazing job. Thank you for letting me use you as an example, Kim. I want you guys to think about the question. And that question was, which business strategy feels most aligned with my personality? Okay. What business building method is more natural? Which one is more forced? And then I just want you guys, I don't know if you put it in the comments, but I want to stay on track because we did want to get out of here hopefully by 11 here, and we got a couple more minutes. So number 3, do this for you. This is step 3. Do this for you. This last step has to be personal. If you're doing it for someone else, it won't last. Now, I know some of you are like, but I'm doing this for my family and my kids and my husband and my grandchildren and this person and that person and my leader and all the things. The reality is if you do not enjoy doing what you're doing, it is not for you. It won't last. It won't last. You'll leave. You'll quit. You'll find every reason you can to quit. So your next action step is write down your why in one sentence and place it somewhere visible. Put it somewhere you can see it. Remind yourself, why am I doing this? Why am I doing the dreaded task that I have to do because it's just that consistent DMO work? Why am I showing up in my light? Why do I even talk about this technology? Because you can't be on the dark side and share what we have. It just can't happen because people are going to see through you. And then I want you to set a goal that excites you, not just what's expected. Steve has a great incentive this month, a great incentive. And that incentive is go out and get the driver's bonus and he'll double it for you. It's a great incentive. But you can't just say, I'm going to go out and enroll 3 with a Pan Am Plus kit so I can go ahead and get that because Steve wants me to earn it. There has to be a reason. Why do I need that extra $200? What am I going to do with that $200? What can I do with an extra $400? That's exciting. For me, little hippie me, living over here, I could buy canning stuff with that, you guys. I could go out and maybe get piano lessons for this new piano behind me. You see it all leveling up in your mind, right? Like there's so many things I could do with $400. So my goal isn't I want to achieve it because Steve put it out there and he's my leader and he expects me to get it. My goal is I'm excited because when I make this 400 extra dollars that I wouldn't have made otherwise, I'm going to go do A, B, and C. Get it? Okay. I'm going to go on vacation. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. And then along the way, and we tell you this all the time, and it's so important, we all miss it. Celebrate your small wins. Post it in your team chats. Share it with your accountability partners. Share it on Monday night. When we say, hey, who's got a win for this week? Raise your hand. Be engaged in your achievements. Celebrate them all. Treat yourself when you hit a small milestone. Do whatever it is. Whatever you need. You know, when I was losing weight, I every time I'd lost an inch, I'd stick something else in a bucket. I'd stick buttons for every pound. And when I hit a certain level of that, like it wasn't buttons, it was marbles. But every time I get into that and I get closer, I do another goal and I'd be able to reward myself in another way. At first, it was with food scary, and then I had to change it because I realized that was defeating my goal. So your reflection question for this is, am I doing this for external validation or my own goals? Are you showing up because you want people to see you? Or are you showing up because this is your life? This is your goals. You're here to build a business. Your why, though? What's beyond that? Right? Oh, I want to get to VP. Why? I want to get to managing director. Why? I want to get to director. Why? Team leader. Why? Senior associate. Why? I want to enroll. Why? Ask people when they come to enroll. You can be specific. Look, as leaders, we want to tell you enroll everyone you possibly can, do everything you can. But the reality is you have to choose who you work with sometimes. So ask the question, why do you want to join my team? Why do you want to offer Super Patch? Because you know why you're doing it. You want to make sure it aligns with what we're doing here, right? So again, as you can see, we're going back to the why, right? So I'm not going to ask you to write your why out again. I'm just going to tell you, remember why. Remember why you're here, why you're doing this, why you put on the patch, why you signed up, why you clicked that join as an associate, why you clicked order. Remember why. And the deeper whys, not just, I want to earn a bunch of money. The why, because I get out of bed now. The why, because I'm off treatment now. The why, because my husband is not laid up in bed right now. The why, because my kids can focus. The why, because I can afford my bills now. The why, because I can get up and I can share. The why, because I've witnessed this patch help other people, thousands of people, by putting it on them. The why, because I love the excitement of someone who just experiences the demo for the first time. The why, because I'm making more money than I've ever made. The why, because I have a team now that is underneath me that expects me to show up for them. The why, right? Do you see all the things that can build into that? That's more than just, I want to earn some money. It matters. Your story, like I said in the beginning, your story, your journey, that matters. Okay. Show up as you. So over the next week, I want you to choose one action from each section. And I'm going to share my notes in Miracle Workers when I share the video. So you guys can do this again, but show up, choose one action from each section. So show up as you. So go share a post or a live of you just being natural, or find out what works for you. Focus on one business building method that feels right for you. Do this for you. Set and share a personal goal. Okay, hold yourself accountable a little bit. So today, my encouragement to you was to say, I figured it out. And the secret sauce is just to be authentically you. The secret sauce is to show up how you feel most genuine and natural. The secret sauce is to build relationships based on who you are. Okay. So if you have any final takeaways, so if there's anything that you really just were like, whoa, I would love for you to share that in the comments. I would love for you to share that in the comments. Anything today that just really smacked you and said, oh my goodness, I got to start doing this. And I'm just going to say the way to long-term success isn't by copying others. Yes, we have duplication systems, duplicatable systems. We want you to do those. But it's not in copying others' personalities. I've done it. I've shared and showed up as someone else for too long. Even in my super patch hat. The way to long-term success isn't by copying others, it's by becoming the best version of you. Okay? Doing this for me. Yes. I'm looking at the comments now. Face-to-face, one-on-one, team building. Thank you. Build each other.
You read the comments and I'm going to share. Okay.
What?
Colossians 23 through 24. Everything that we do, you guys, it aligns with who created us. Okay. You're put on this earth for a reason, on purpose, with a plan. Whether you believe that or not, that is truth. I scream that truth every day as long as I live. Colossians 3:23 through 24. Whatever you do, work at it with all your heart, as working for the Lord, not for human masters, since you know that you will receive an inheritance from the Lord as a reward. Whatever you do, work at it with all your heart. Not whatever Crystal does, work at it with the way she works at it. When you do that, when you work for the Lord, when you know whose you are, all of this aligns as when you know who you are and whose you are. Okay? Without that, the continuous wondering and confusion is going to be ever so present. So ask yourself today, who do you belong to? What am I serving? You know, what do I want people to see when they look at my life? Crystal, you've laid a beautiful picture of us for tangibly doing this. Some people are afraid of their own voice because they don't know who they are. You don't want to go live because you don't like the sound of your own voice. It's hard for you to believe you. Do you know that even in your silence, you can speak? Let me show you. If you're not looking, you're not going to see it. That's it. That's all you got to do. Even if you don't know what to say, we have patches, that will help you do that. You know that, right? Put on a focus patch. I put on joy, but you didn't really know that. You didn't see it maybe so quick. So if I was online sharing something, Kim has gotten great at going lives. Kim, that's fantastic. Not everyone's going to do that. Not everyone's going to make a reel or tell a story or do those things, but you can be silent while you work on becoming more confident. And people are going to go, what's that thing? And then you can talk with them in chatting before you get confident enough to say, hey, give me your phone number. Let's get on a phone call. Let me talk, get on a call with my friend. I'll share with you what that yellow thing is. Your presence is enough when you know who you represent.
Can I say something real quick? And that right there is part of how I became confident within myself. Confidence is key. And knowing who you are and who you want to represent. And that I feel like has been a big part of why I've become so confident with my lives. And it's just, you gotta just get out there and find yourself. It's a good feeling. And you get that spark within yourself to be able to do and say who you really are and just talk.
And it empowers you.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's it. Empowers. And it's a good feeling just to be able to get there, get to that point. And when you get to that point, it's just,
there's no turning back, Kim. There's no
Yeah.
turning back because
No.
you show up. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that, because you show up as yourself. And as you show up with that confidence, you're going to share a little bit more. Sometimes you feel like you're oversharing. People need that a little bit. We got to a point where we got so short and stopped communicating, right? Larry, you used to pick up the phone and call your friends, right? If you had to find a friend, you didn't text them and say, where are you at? You had to ride around your bicycle and see where all the bikes were parked outside, right? You had to figure out where people were at. Sometimes we need to get out and figure that out too. Sometimes that's the way. Just getting out of our comfort zone, showing up, figuring out what works best for us. And when you show up in that authentic light, people will know. If I came on here, you guys, you've been on a lot of Zooms with me in 2 years. If I came on here and I was forcing it, you're going to know. If I came on here and had a bad day, y'all, all of you know, and I've had bad days and you've messaged me. Lots of you have messaged me because you know, you've grown to hopefully know, like, and trust me because I consistently show up, but I'm myself. I'm who I am regardless. Okay. A month without makeup, a month whatever, to find myself, to figure me out. And that's just my encouragement for you today. So whether it's a live, whether that business strategy is going live, posting more, doing different things, going to vendor events, setting up meetings, three-way calls, personal professional calls, hosting a business party, there's so many different ways that you can plug in. And my goal for you, my ask of you is just to pick one and just do it. And if it's not it, mark it off the list. Find the one that works for you, because nothing we ever teach you is going to be 100% foolproof for you. All right. So with that being said, we have a couple minutes. I want to remind you tonight at 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern, we've got Steve hosting our opportunity call. Immediately following that, right? Usually about 7:30, we have people hopping on. Immediately following that, we're going to have our live testimonial hour, or half hour. And so I'm just going to ask any of you that want to come on and be ready to share. Come on and be ready to be on camera. Step out of your comfort zone. Get practice sharing. And it could be a one-liner. It could be, I joined this company because it makes me feel so good. It could be, I wear these patches because my pain feels better, right? Simple. But invite people. And that's the key, is to invite. We can show up. We can learn all the time. We can do it. But if we don't have guests in the room, what are we doing? We're just practicing. Okay. So let's make sure we invite people. So I'm going to leave 5 more minutes for anyone that hasn't had an opportunity to speak, that wants to share anything that you've kind of taken away from this. Sorry, my dogs are seeing things outside, so they're loud if you hear them. But if you've got something you'd like to take home from this, please just unmute and share.
Crystal, I have a question. Jeanette here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Hi.
Oh, good. Thanks. So in regards to inviting those we've invited to, inviting others to the call tonight, the testimonies, for the people that we've invited into the group, do you have a way best to do that? Do I need to go in to see who of my friends accepted and are members in that group to then reach out to them and say, hey, there's this call tonight. Can you be available to be on it? Whatever,
Yeah, I mean, your follow-up is key. Like, you want to reach out to them personally and invite them, because it's not exclusive to the Amazing Patch Stories group. We just call it Amazing Patch Stories Testimonies, and then we like to share them in the group. So it's still a Zoom. So we still want to reach out and say, hey, if you're jumping on the opportunity call tonight, why don't you also jump on to our testimony live, or our testimony Zoom, where we share live real testimonies right now. So yeah, the work is in that follow-up, you guys. Adding people is great, but you got to make sure you're following up with them and you're doing your due diligence to make sure that they're seeing everything we have to offer. And then every Tuesday and Thursday, we also post in the group that we have a Zoom tonight. And if anyone wants it, to comment, and that's how we get you more engaged with your people too. Did that help, Jeanette?
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, thanks. I had another thought, but it's gone now.
Okay.
Thanks.
No worries. If you remember it, put it in the comments. Anybody else? Oh, Tammy's with a baby.
Actually, another question. The two
Yes.
links, the two, they're two different links, right? The opportunity call, the Amazing Patch Stories.
Yep.
Okay.
And
Thanks.
they're both shared in Miracle Workers Group. They're shared every Sunday. They get shared in there for our list. We try to update as fast as possible. Steve also posts. They're pinned to the featured. And then you guys, I would just suggest like taking those Zooms and saving them to like a notepad or something in your phone or your computer, so you always have them, like you know where they are. That way you can invite people out. Good. Yes, Karen.
Hi, so I have a seems everybody here has a nice strong patch story or multiple patch stories. I have a question of whether you respond to it or tell me where I can go. How do you strengthen your patch story? Because I basically don't have one. The boost helped me one time. Other than that, the things I've tried haven't really worked. And one of my 3 descriptors is contagiously enthusiastic. So I want to get a story so I can be that with patches. I can't right
So,
now because I don't have it. So respond.
Karen, I want to ask you because you messaged me privately. I want to ask you this. Have you been demoed?
No, I have not been demoed.
Okay, that's the very first thing that you need to do. So, you said Steve enrolled you,
Actually,
right?
I yes, I
Yeah,
demoed
okay.
someone and she
But if,
demoed me. Well, it didn't work. So, but yeah.
what do you mean it
So go
didn't
ahead,
work,
Karen.
Karen? Come on. What
What?
do you mean it didn't work?
As in she was strong before, so I couldn't pull her down, and so was I. And so there wasn't really any difference.
Well, I could be wrong. I don't think I am, but you might have done the demo incorrectly because it
For
works
me,
100% of the time. And then you do it different ways too, not just this way, but the side. And then you do it even
inside,
with
yeah.
your range of motion. And then
Okay.
you can also do it with your arm down. There's different ways to do it. So I would say, how close do you live to Steve? How did this conversation happen?
No, I live close to you. I'm in Fredericksburg.
Oh, well,
I'm
Karen,
not close to Steve. Hello.
we need to meet up and I can demo you correctly.
Let's do it. And
Not to
and
say that you did it wrong,
when I
but I'm
mentioned this,
telling you. And then when you feel sorry, it's there's like a little disconnect in our connection. When you feel that work for you, okay? When you feel it work properly, you'll no longer be in disbelief.
that was kind of
And
Steve's
from
response that
there, you'll
maybe I did
know.
wrong. So let's find a way to do that.
Yeah, but in the meantime, Karen, I use other people's amazing success stories.
Yeah.
There's so many great stories. I'm like, I got a friend of mine who did this. I have a friend of mine who feels this way. A friend of mine feels this way. So don't be afraid to use somebody else's story as well.
And as
Them
you
and that
trial and error.
getting
Sorry.
that's Crystal's things of getting outside of feeling right for me. When for me multiples, like I can't focus any better, I can't sleep any better, I can't. So for me, so I'll get together with Carrie. We'll do that. We'll get some belief in me, and I hope this is helpful for somebody else as well. But it is for me. So
And I like your vulnerability and realness about it, because the reality is every patch is not for everyone. And that's the thing we have to remember, is just because they work as quick as they do and we have that great overall rating, it doesn't mean that it's going to work for every single person. So in the sense that you need it to. They're all working, but in the sense that you need it to. And so I would challenge, have you worn the focus patch for 14 days straight? Have you kind of
no,
journal kind of where you are normally, and then where you are when you wear the patch. Trial and error, like putting on your shoes and taking them off and then putting on a Liberty or Victory patch and doing that. Sleep and use the patch, the REM sleep patch, for 14 days and really
okay.
monitor, how much did I sleep? How do I feel? Sometimes it takes to breaking it down and journaling it, because our brains are so programmed to assume that we're not going to get the help as fast as we need, or to assume we need this cure over just relief. And that's something I'm very big on. When I talk to people, I say, listen, this is not a cure. We're looking for relief and improvement. And 1% of relief or improvement is still better than we had. And it's a drug-free, natural way to get it. So I think that for you, Karen, it's just number one, get together for sure and get that demo so you can feel, whoa, this really works. But number two is, remember, all of them come with a 14-day test trial, and not everything is going to work in the way that you're hoping, or it worked for someone else as immediate for everyone. Right? Does that make sense to everyone?
Yeah.
Thank you.
And two, I'm
Thank you
sorry,
for sharing.
Jeanette here. Someone commented, I can't see the name, but it's very important, I think. It helps to take a glass of water before you start testing. That's very important as far as our hydration levels and, whether we're dehydrated and how our results are. So I thought that was important to note. Thank you.
I agree with that. And thank you, Ishild, for sharing, and Jeanette for making sure we read that. Listen, what the number one thing I don't want you guys to do is try to find tricks and things to make the test work any different than it works. You slap and go, you patch and go. And so, yes, there are certain things about certain people. I have neuropathy on my left side of my body. I hardly wear patches unless it's defend on my left leg because it actually doesn't read as well because it's a dead leg. And that's something that Jay taught us through training. And like in Orlando, he taught us like some places on your body help absorb better just for that person. If I have a dry skin patch and I put that patch on, my skin's not working as effectively as it should. And that's what happens kind of with neuropathy too. So I put it on my right side and boom, it works better for me. Karen, sometimes it's just about trial and error and then giving it that shot and just getting out of, the concept of this has to work this way, right?
Hey, Steve,
Thank
I
you.
want to ask you something
What?
about this because this is
Did y'all
like
mute
this
me?
is a good teaching moment. Yeah, something's going on with the connection, so I feel like we talk over each other. Steve, I want to ask you something really quick. Unmute. So you had a conversation with Karen. Why did she decide to join you?
She reached out to me. Karen reached out to me, and I think the patches intrigued her. But I think it was a financial. I think Karen was interested in making a bunch of money.
So not necessarily because a
No.
story stood out, right?
I didn't hear you. Say it again.
Not because like a certain story stood out or anything.
No, I don't think so. Karen, jump in here.
Actually, it does. So it was, yes, I want and need some money, and I want some massive money. And I'm 71 years old, about to turn 72. I don't have any ailments because I don't take any meds and I don't go to the doctor. So I'm right with y'all. And so I wanted to try this. I wanted it to work. And while my speaking is working, Crystal, thank you so much for what you shared. I hadn't heard the part about 14 days. Is there anywhere I can get the kind of training? Was that just you heard it from Jay, or is there somewhere I can learn the kind of stuff you were talking from?
Yeah, absolutely. Everything we share, we've either taught on or Jay has said. So that's the beautiful thing about our business and building because I don't fluff anyone. When they join, I'm like, this is where it is and this is where the research is. So in our Miracle Workers group, there's a guide section and you just got to kind of work your way down the list. There's tons of different trainings in support of that. And then in your back office, there's actual, if you go to resources, everyone should know this, right? Just mess around in your back office. You can't break anything and you're using it for like 4 things, right? The rest of the stuff doesn't even matter. But there's a resource section. And in that resource section, unless they've taken it down, there is different trainings that Jay himself has done. And so you can go on there. And then of course, Steve has them on the YouTube channel too. Everything's kind of counterlinked in there. So you just really kind of have to dive in and plug in when you can. And Karen, I'll say this, you're in the perfect place for your lifestyle because you're about to be 72 and you don't have any ailments. And you are living a life that most people want to do, drug-free, chemical-free, all the different things. You mentioned in here, you make your own food as well. Like there's so many things that you're doing that people can relate to, and you getting behind a brand that stands firmly in that mission. And I wish you were in Orlando. It's probably before you had joined, but that's what we were talking about was get behind the movement. Get behind the movement of everyone's over-vaxxed and over-drugged right now. Right? Everyone is, and I mean, we can all agree whether or not we're pro-vax or pro-not or whatever, it doesn't matter. We're not going to get in politics. It's the truth. Right. And there's things being put in our food. There's things being put into our water bottles. There's things being put into our candles. There's things being put into our lotions. We have to get behind a mission. And so, Karen, you're in the best place to get behind your mission because you're already living that lifestyle. And now you're like, okay, but I see you wanting to have a connection with at least one patch, at least one. And so that's just going to come in trial and error for you. But like Steve said, until then, lean in on Amazing Patch Stories group and lean in on all those testimonies we're already sharing. Because just because you don't struggle with it doesn't mean you can't impact someone that does.
Sure.
Right? Okay, these are great questions, you guys. We have time for one more. If anyone has any more questions, then we're going to jump off of here.
It's very important that you get into the guide section. Crystal, thank you for sharing all of that. And so, Steve, make sure you add her to that and add new
Yes.
associates. Tag everyone in that. Maybe we'll do a tag all. Everything you need to know for getting you in direction where you need to know is in there. All of the stories you can share. Be your own hype person, right? So there's an answer for all of it, and we do not fluff a thing. When we hear stuff, it's from Jay. That's why, Crystal, I'm thankful that you said something about don't add to the way the demo works. Don't, add to it. Like, there doesn't need to be anything extra, because then you're going to think you got to carry bottled water with you everywhere you go. I can't give away bottled water some days to people that just are on the street. And so the demo works. When you do the demo correctly, it works. And we take everything from the horse's mouth from the creator. Why would we do anything different? So, Crystal, let's go ahead and get out of here. You guys have a great rest of your Tuesday. Hop on tonight's Zoom opportunity and bring stories. And Karen, that's a great place to come learn and hear more stories, So bring your friends on, have them hear it from other people. Thank you so much, Crystal, for everything you do. And I appreciate you. You guys have a great rest of your day.
Thanks, you guys, for sharing.
Thanks.
Awesome.
Thanks, you guys. Thanks for everything you do.
Have a good day.
Appreciate it.